shut up, compressor. And now we've reached a point where we finally get to throw some paint. And we're going to be starting with the intakes. As you can see, I've masked off the white portion. We're going to have to weather the shit out of that later on for sure. But right now we need to get the gray going. So to start with that, we're going to restore some of the black. Now, as per usual with masking, you don't want to spray right into the tape. So we're kind of coming in at these weird oblique angles to build shit up. I probably want to do more than this once this gets painted, but basically the goal here is to get the inner rim done so that we don't have to deal with masking that later on, when it will be a lot more painful to do. Cool. Now while we're doing that, we're also going to go ahead and get the area around the intakes in here a bit sorted out. There's that side. Okay. Okay, now we're up with some MRP Dark Ghost Gray in the PS771. Now the frustrating thing about these intakes, and I guess on when I'm building, the demarcation line runs right along them, so let's go ahead and kind of establish that first. Okay. That's enough dark ghost gray. Let's switch over to light ghost gray. Okay. I think that's going to work. Cool. We have ourselves an intake. Not too shabby. Okay, next we're switching up to the PS267 again to paint the engine compressor faces. These have already been primed in Stynylrez and then shot with some MRP5 black. Don't need anything super fancy because they're at the back of some what are going to be dirty intakes. For this, I'm using MRP82 titanium. I don't actually know if these compressor faces are titanium, but all the photos show a very warm, metallic looking thing, so titanium does a good job of that, at least MRP's rendition of it. Looks pretty good for sort of a deep down the well kind of a thing, and now we get to paint, I don't know what these things are called, the spinner, the fan hub, okay, those look pretty solid. There we go. Looking at it deep down the well, that looks pretty awesome. Okay, for our next step with the intakes, we are going to go ahead and apply an all-clad wash to the compressor faces here. Gonna bring out the shadows. And spike the contrast because they're going to be buried way at the back, so whatever we can do to help there. Okay, there's one. Let's get the other one. This one has like a little goober on it, which is frustrating, but I figure I'll just angle that to the side that is least likely to be seen. So I have a feeling getting in there to get rid of that would cause a little bit of damage. Okay, easy peasy. Now to close out this installment, we're going to go ahead and weather up the intake trunks. And my plan for this is to use some Guns Mr. Weathering color and kind of mix 3 of them together to get sort of a dirty brown-gray shade. So, Mr. Weathering color grayish-brown, which in a quick test on the side of this thing kind of gets you to this sort of color. A little bit of multi-gray, and a little bit of multi-white, because I want more of a light gray going on. So, shake these up. A little bit of this. And then we add some Mr. Weathering thinner. I'm pretty sure this stuff is just naphtha, but whatever, it does a nice job. Sort of dirty brown, gray color, a little bit lighter and less saturated than the main tone, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to test this again on the outside of a thing, see how it goes. I think that'll do pretty nicely. So these things aren't entirely useful, but I think for this purpose they'll be great. All right. Now we're going to grab a little bit on here. Get that guy a little bit wet. Whoa. All right. Basically, we're just making a big old mess in here. Okay. Now just to compare these two side by side. Dirtied up and clean. So I think that's a pretty decent dirt job, and we'll come in and we'll scuff up the very forward face of this a bit later in the build. All right. So with that, we've got some dirtied up intakes. Let's go ahead. And we've got the washed compressor faces. And when we combine the two, that's looking pretty decent. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this video, and in the next one, we're going to tackle the cockpit.